our match is ready, and round number 6 action here is coming to you. Our game has started. Our players have hands. They're considering their options, and our game is about to start. Looks like a pretty stacked hand from our Boros energy player, but our burn player is on the play. They love to see that. Monastery Swift Spear coming down to 19 for Dave Shiels.
Yeah, and it's hard to ask for more from the energy deck than the curve of Guide of Souls into Ocelot Pride. So I can't imagine you're sad to see that if you're Dave.
Yep, another Guide of Souls found off the top. We'll see what we choose to do on turn 1. One of the Surveil lands in hand might be a little awkward for Dave here. He'll have to figure out how to deploy that tap land in a way that won't cause him a lot of tempo loss.
Yeah, and something you might be considering here is whether or not to run it out on turn 1 and kind of have that double 1-drop for turn 2. It's a little weird, but it does guarantee that first life gain trigger on the Guide of Souls, and every life point counts against burn.
Absolutely, and it looks like he's going to do exactly as you said there. Excellent prediction, Andrew. Going to think on that Surveil. Look, against burn, every moment really counts. And these crucial turn 1 decisions are really important. So Dave taking his time to work through his options and decide how to play out these early turns.
Okay, and we're getting word that when this game was recorded, there was a technical issue that's going to prevent the light source from being updated for the first game. So just keep in mind that we'll have to kind of manually keep track, but the light source will just be stuck at 2020 for this game only.
Absolutely. So here we see a DRC and a Lava Spike, our first 1 mana into 3 damage spell. Burn, obviously very good at using all its mana as the cards are cheap. And Monastery Swift Spear coming in. So let's see. Swift Spear did 1, Lava Spike did 3, that's 4, and this Swift Spear did 2, so I count 6. So I assume Dave here is at 14.
All right, 14, 19. Okay,
yep.
Cool. We'll try to track that. Cracking the fetch down to 13.
Down to 13. Here we go. I didn't know this was part of the job description when I signed up, but here we go.
Oh man. All right. So looks like basic planes very wise here, preserving that life total from Shiels.
Yep, and it looks like a lot of white cards in hand, as we saw earlier. So gonna not struggle to use that mana.
I also will say that I think these days there's been a lot of kind of strong results and success from a lot of grinders and known energy experts for the kind of Mardu builds of the deck. But if you're playing at someone who's filling their library with burn spells, you'd definitely rather playing the 2-color deck with more basics and a less painful mana base.
Absolutely. And something like Thoughtseize is a mixed bag in the mashup. Not going to be too sad to not have access to that tool. So here it is, the MH3 1-2 punch of Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride, making a token end of turn. The life gain has begun for Dave Shiels. He's going to make our life a little hard, though I believe he's heading to 16 here.
Yeah, did you count? Yeah.
Yeah, 1 life gain off the Pride. Yeah. The fetch crack got us down to... Oh wait, I think I missed. I think it's 15 maybe. Yeah,
oh my
15.
Gosh. This is really nice. But anyway, so yes, and I think this play that Shields made of playing the tap land on turn 1 has really worked out nicely for him here.
Yeah.
Since if he had deployed a creature, then probably what happened is Moreno would have just killed it immediately. I believe he has a Searing Blaze in hand, and he wouldn't have gotten to do this life gain, nor would he have gotten to make the token necessarily if Moreno had gone after the Ocelot Pride.
Absolutely.
So he really got a lot of value with that delay, and I think it was a really heads-up play from a strong player.
Yep, and look, Moreno could have left his mana up to answer these key threats, but he's playing Burn. It's not really a deck known for keeping its mana up. Here is the Searing Blaze, though. Triggering Surveil 1 off that DRC, taking down that Guide of Souls, leaving our card on top, bringing Dave Shiels down to, we believe, 12. Still no Delirium, so this could be an attack for 3 at the moment. Just 2.
Yeah, and I think in this particular game, we are sort of seeing some of the downsides of this Dragonblade Channeler. Sure, the card selection is nice, but not being able to attack into Ocelot Pride is a big deal.
Absolutely.
It's one of the most played cards in the modern format, and obviously Delirium, that's not an issue, but if you don't, yeah, your card's going to look pretty bad.
Yeah. All right, we're seeing just a chump block from our 1/1 cat. That makes a lot of sense, Dave, choosing to keep his life total high. Here we go, turn number 3 beginning. Let's see if Phlage can come to, or an early Phlage as a lightning helix. That could be a big effect on the game state. Again, Dave Shields really taking his time in this matchup, considering all the options. Every little step counts against Burn. Every life point matters, and one small misstep could be the difference between winning or losing here. So really wise to take his time
Yeah,
on these early turns.
I think one thing he might be thinking about is like, look, like I can certainly play Phlage here, but it's not clear that any of these creatures are that threatening. It's also not clear that I need to kind of waste my my life gain trigger. Maybe on a future turn I won't have a Guide of Souls or Clean Attack with the Pride. I won't have a natural way to kind of trigger it, and I'll need my Phlage to do the job then. So he's going to choose to instead wait, deploy the same Guide of Souls, deploy some additional creatures, trigger things that way, and perhaps also attack and use the Guide of Souls ability, since I think he does have 3 energy.
Yeah, looks like it, and that could be huge on our life-linking threat in the form of Ocelot Pride. There is Ragavan. We've really got the trio of Modern Horizons powerful 1-drops on the board. How stock is Ragavan? Has it been rising or falling recently in the format?
Yeah, so there was a period of time where basically every energy deck cut all their Ragavans, mostly because of the mirror. People thought that it was too bad against Ocelot Prize, and they went with that. But just recently, in the last few weeks, as the format has kind of developed to be almost exclusively combo versus energy, you've seen people just start to get the Ragavans back into their decks in small numbers. Kind of moving them from the sideboard where they were hanging out before back to the mains, be better against all the combo decks, a little worse in the mirror, but that might be worth it.
Yeah.
And Dave Shields up on that trend with the main deck Ragavan.
Yep. And here we see him not choose to go for the Guide of Souls trigger on the Ocelot Pride. What do you think about that choice?
Yeah, well, I think if you're Dave Shields, you have to think that Moreno has some sort of burn spell here. It's kind of weird for him to just have, well, nothing.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's possible, but maybe you're just being that anyway. I mean, you're at 15 and getting plenty of life a turn.
Yeah,
absolutely. So I like the conservative play. I like not going too on Pride. If the Pride lives, it'll be good anyway. Maybe try to get those counters, thing like a cat token, like a Ragavan, something that isn't already a threat into itself.
Yeah. All right, and there is a lightning bolt on the Guide of Souls to end the turn. I got to admit, I've lost track of the life totals. I think we're vaguely in the 14 to 17 range, but it's hard to know exactly.
All right.
15-18 chat says, here's Slick Shot Show Off, though. That's a card that's capable of dealing a lot of damage all at once. I mean, but this Bull Wave is the last card in hand from John Moreno.
Yeah, and this is where the rubber really hits the road for the burn deck. Once you are going to start not spending your mana every turn, not casting your spells, where the energy continues to do their thing turn after turn, I think that Shields is going to commanding position is really about to take over this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know there's a Phlage at the ready to deal with that Slick Shot Show Off. We've been preserving all of our energy, so this Static Prison is going to stay around for quite a while.
Yeah, you might say that, I don't know, Shields got kind of gotten by having his Guide of Souls killed after he kind of conserved the energy. But on the other hand, that is one of the main advantages of it, is this prison is never going to be a problem. And anything else he draws that can utilize energy can do so with impunity.
Absolutely. We see Ragavan hit a basic mountain, so nothing going to be cast, but a treasure token will come down, helping Dave Shields with his mana generation. And let's see what he chooses to do. There's Phlage. Lightning Helix ability done. Gain 3 life. Bird down. Ocelot Pride trigger end of turn. Make a chump blocker for the Swift Spear. Hard to imagine John Moreno getting out of this one.
Yeah, because not only is Dave Shields getting all this life, not only is the Phlage going to come back next turn, kill another creature, gain more life, also the clock here is pretty real. He's going to turn the corner incredibly hard. He's going to very rapidly change from killing your creature with my Phlage to hitting your face with Phlage. And it's not like Moreno's going to have 10 more turns to draw burn spells to clean things up here. The game is going to end quick.
Yeah, and when your opponent is gaining 3-ish life a turn and you're drawing 3 damage burn spells, it certainly is not a great feeling.
Yeah, I guess it is fair to point out that there's only 3, I think, things to exile to Phlage right now. So Dave Shields needs something like a fetch land and a galvanic discharge or something of that nature to get it back. It's not trivial, but it's not impossible by any means either. In fact, even just like a fetch into a Surveil bin would be enough.
Yeah.
I think it's reasonably likely that he can get back next turn, but far from guaranteed.
Yes. Rift Bolt hits the suspend zone, but I'm not sure there's going to be too much done here I don't think Dave Shiels is too afraid of this suspend 1 lightning bolt effect.
No, it's going to have to go after his creatures, which is really just playing Energy's game.
Yeah. Skycleave Apparition hits the battlefield, taking down the Monastery Swiftspear, clearing up an attack for all of these powerful 1-drops. Tell me about Skycleave Apparition. Not a card I think we always see in the Energy decks.
Yeah, definitely not. This is another kind of one of the flex slots. Some of the decks have it, some of them don't. What's really nice about it is that it can clean up the One Ring, and the One Ring is by far the best card in the format against Energy, also possibly the best card in the format overall. So it's really nice to have kind of a cheap, efficient way to deal with that card. Also, it's pretty versatile. In almost every matchup, you'll find something good hit with your Skyclave, and I think that is a pretty big part of the benefit.
Yep. A nice flexible answer there. Now that land, that's Barbarian Ring, I believe, and it's going to be able to answer the Guide of Souls. The Riftbolt will answer Ragavan. So the Burn player doing a good job cleaning up these creatures. But as we know, Phlage is coming, and that's going to seal the deal pretty quickly. A Lightning Spike found from John Moreno.
Yes, the life steals you can't see, I believe, are that Shiels currently has over 10 life and is bringing back Phlage to gain 3 more. So the thing is, it just doesn't matter these creatures are being answered. If the players trade off all their cards, the Energy deck will win, all right?
Yeah, and as Burn, you never like seeing your opponent life total higher than yours. So pretty disappointing conclusion to that game. So that's what a Boros Energy win looks like. Maybe we'll see what a Burn win will look like as we go into game number 2. But we're going to pull up deck lists and consult our sideboards. Starting off with, let's see, maybe we'll get the Boros Energy list up here. Oh, nope. No, let's start with the Burn deck. Okay, here's the Burn deck. Let's see what tools our Burn player has. They must know that this Boros Energy deck is here. What tools do they have to deal with it? Andrew, what from the sideboard jumps out to you?
Yeah, honestly, I think this sideboard looks very problematic.
Okay.
Because what you really want in this matchup is things that prevent life gain. I know that sounds obvious, but look, the Burn deck is very weak to life gain, and we don't see a lot of that here. Vortex would be a tool that would be really advisable. Maybe some other cards that have no gain life clauses, like more kind of Skullcrack effects would be good. We don't really see any of that. Now, maybe boarding these Kozilek's returns and kind of clean up these smaller boards, deal with some of these threats. Maybe the Searing Bloods to kill some of them and get in some damage. But in the end, I think all of that is sort of playing the Boros Energy game. If it becomes a value fight, you're going to lose. And I don't really see the tools in this sideboard to stop that life gain. So I'm concerned about Moreno's situation.
Interesting. Those 4 Skullcracks are in the main, but you can't bring in more than 4, so we're pretty limited on our tools to stop the life gain. Let's move over to the Boros Energy deck. We saw those Skyclaves and that Ragavan come up in game number 1. A lot of options here in the sideboard. What jumps out to you here from our Boros Energy pilot?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I mean, one of the advantages of playing a deck like Burn is that people aren't going to have a lot of dedicated hate in their sideboard for you because your deck is under the radar, not necessarily very popular, or that successful in most events. So as a result, Shields doesn't have kind of any slam dunk sideboard cards, mostly just some marginal upgrades. Maybe you'd want the 2/2 First Strike Flyer just to block some stuff profitably in the form of this Night Phantom. Maybe you'd want a Thrav and Charm through some of these threats. Maybe the Reprieves, but their cards are all pretty cheap, so it's hard to say if that's really worth it. Nothing Shields has that great. On the other hand, Shields doesn't have that many cards he needs to get out of his deck.
Yeah.
I think he's going to mostly not change that much, and honestly, that will mostly be fine. All of his best cards are in his deck already. Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride, Phlage, these are some of the best cards against Burn in the format, and he has them all in the main.
All right, well, let's see how these post-board games go, and if the player's sideboard, as we expect. Our game number 2 is starting here. Dave Shiels, as we've seen throughout the match, being meticulous, really taking his time, deciding on a card to put on the bottom. Looks like he's on a mulligan to 6. Our Burn player, again, on the play. It looks like they're going to, again, lead off with Monastery Swiftspear, a powerful start to the game.
Yes, and we believe Light Souls will be updated this game. We believe that the problem is fixed, so we should no longer have to do any manual tracking.
Yep, I did see Kozilek's return as we sifted through the library there. So that is an option if an Ocelot Pride board gets too out of hand. Um, okay, so let's see. It looks like an Ocelot Pride drawn from Dave Shiels, a good turn one option. Let's see if he had anything else lined up or goes with that new card that he just found.
Well, yeah, so he has a similar situation as the last game, actually, where he has Ocelot Pride of Guide of Souls. Now, this time he doesn't have a forced tap land, so he's the option to run out. Now, it's possible that Jade Shiels just thinks, in general, it's right in this matchup to play them in the same turn to kind of maximize value and minimize their reaction points. I'm not that sure.
Yeah, it looks like that's not what we're doing. Windswept Heath gets sacrificed and Ocelot Pride on the board on turn number 1. Again, finding a plains to preserve life total. All right, back to burn. Let's see what John Moreno has in store. Plenty of options at his disposal. What is coming? We'll start our turn off with a fetch, finding some more mana. And let's see. This is currently our burn player is in the driver's seat. So we'll see if they can find a way to force a game number 3.
Well, yeah, so big check here is, I think, Searing Blaze, right? Look, if Moreno has to spend a lightning bolt or something on a select right, he will, and he'll deal with that. It's fine. But he would much prefer to continue to press his own game plan, hitting Jade Shiels' life directly and removes Ocelot Pride in one go. So his ideal turn here definitely involves Searing Blaze.
This is a pretty good turn, though. Another Swiftspear Lightning Bolt, take down the cat, attack for 4, bring Dave Shiels down to 14.
Yeah, this is Searing Blaze of sorts.
Yeah.
I mean, he's Lightning Bolt sort of dealt, 4 damage if you squint.
If you squint, absolutely. But now Dave Shiels is going to untap, and it's his turn to affect the board, starting again with another fetch land, going down to 13.
Yeah, and I wonder if we'll see a second basic plains out of Shields. Does he have a second basic plains defined? I'm not totally sure. He does. Okay. So he's going to color screw himself for life? He will. Love to see that.
Absolutely love to see it. 2 plains on the battlefield. 2 mountains on one side, 2 plains on the other. Keeping it nice and simple here in Modern.
Right out of a limited game state are these mana bases. Yep.
Yep. There's Guide of Souls, another Ocelot Pride, and things are moving. We're going to gain some life, make another cat token. This, I imagine, has to be... John is not happy to see this on turn 2 from his opponent.
Well, he's definitely not, although if John went land K return, he would be right back in the driver's seat.
Absolutely. Let's see if he can pull off that sequence of plays.
I also want to point out really quickly here that one reason Dave Shiels was willing to run out the Ocelot Pride on turn 1 is because he knows he's another one and the Guide of Souls. So in some ways, he's trying to bait the removal spell on the first Ocelot Pride.
There is the Searing Blaze we talked about last turn. Still strong here on turn 3. Maybe he wanted to develop his board with Swiftspears last turn, knowing he had the Blaze ready. Another attack for 4. A chump block comes. David Shiels is going to fall down to 10.
Yeah, chump block makes a lot of sense here. If you're Shiels, you're just trying to preserve life total above all else. The board state is not really that important. At some point, Moreno's going to run out of lava spikes. In some ways, if you're trading that chump for 2 life, that's almost a full one of Moreno's cards. So I like the chump here from Shiels.
Absolutely. All right, let's see. I wonder if there's a red source, or is that choice to only find plains going to come and bite us here? Ocelot Pride getting in, buffering the life total a little bit for Dave Shiels. I think I maybe saw an Ether Hub in hand. We can use this random energy we have sitting around to help find some red mana.
And I mean, honestly, as much as I am an Ether Hub hater, and I am in general, I do think when you need painless sources of both colors is a good use case for it.
Absolutely.
If you're playing against Burn, again, this red-white deck versus the Mardu one is the way to go.
Absolutely. Let's see. I think I saw a Skyclave Apparition, which would be a fine option, though maybe not the most exciting. We'll see what else we have to work with. There is that Apparition. 1 Monastery Swiftspear down. We're going to get a cat at end of turn and pass back to our burn player.
And 11 is not too precarious life total for Dave Shiels. The concern is mostly that because Moreno has done so much damage with his creatures, he still has a substantial number of cards in hand.
Absolutely. Here's a Slick Shot show off, but it looks like it's just an attack for 1.
Whoa. So this should send up a lot of red flags if you're Shields here, because it means Moreno's hand has to be weird.
Yeah.
Let's go over some cards he can't have. So anyone drop Burn Spell he would have cast. Anyone drop Creature he presumably would have cast. If he had K return, he probably would have cast it rather than play the Slick Shot.
Yeah.
So his hand can almost entirely be composed of more Slick Shots, 2-mana burn spells, or weird sideboard cards.
Yeah, and notably, we also didn't play a land here. So it's not that John Moreno is flooding. It's just that he's drawn some of his more expensive options in this game number 2.
One card that might make a lot of sense is if Moreno has more Searing Blazes, he might not have landfall for them.
Okay.
But beyond that, it's a very strange play. And Shiels, again, veteran player, very strong player, is going to pick up on this. He's got to be thinking, what exactly is in his hand, and how can I exploit this information?
Yeah, absolutely. John just has to sit back and watch as Dave Shields considers his options. It looks like, is that the White Orchid Phantasm? As you predicted, here to block the bird, lines up very nicely against this Slick Shot show-off. No matter how many prowess triggers there are, that can easily block the Slick Shot show-off. John Moreno seems a little surprised to see that one.
But I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, first of all, Shields probably wants to get some or all of his One Rings out of the deck. They're usually pretty bad in this matchup.
Yeah.
And look, it's a good blocker. It's not what you put in your deck for. It's not the intent. The intent is to destroy Belcher's lands, let them find nothing. But it's very logical.
Although I think we might be about to see one of those Searing Blazes you talked about, because of course the Phantasm bringing out a mountain, that will trigger landfall.
Well, wait, but does Phantom give you the land untapped?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm wrong. I'm
not. Well, okay, I'm definitely not certain of the text of White Orchid Phantom, but I think it gives you tapped. I'm not totally sure though.
We seem to be in the combat phase, so we're not going to be using, even if it's untapped, we're not going to be using it. And there's a tapped Sacred Foundry, red source online again. No life loss to the lands from Dave Shields.
Yes, Phantom does indeed put land really tapped. That is correct. And I suspect Shields may not have made this play, in fact, if it were untapped.
That makes a lot of sense. I will say though, landfall was still on. I just want to point out, if magically with a Simian Spirit Guide we made red mana, landfall was on.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong about that. All right.
Let's see what we're doing. Another Slick Shot show-off, as predicted.
And we've plotted,
and a Dragon Rage Channeler. We're seeing plenty of creatures on the board for our burn player.
Yeah, so now the question is more about how is Shields going to make progress in this game? Because the Ocelot Pride can't really attack anymore due to the Slick Shot show-off and the Swift Spear both being 1/2s. And Shields doesn't have a Life Gain engine like the Guide of Souls going on. So the question is, how does he continue to win? Now, if he's Divine Foil, it's okay, but eventually the burn player will draw burn spells equal to your life total.
Yeah.
So he's got to get going somehow.
Well, that's a full art card of some sort that's just been cast.
Yeah, I have no idea. Maybe it's an Amped Raptor? I'm not sure.
Yeah, let's I'm gonna look at our list to the side and see if we can. Could that be a
Goblin Bombardment? All right. Okay. So that gives him some good options here. So with the Bombardment, he can, for example, attack with the Ocelot Pride. If Moreno blocks the 1/2, go to first strike damage, deal that damage, then finish off the creature.
Yeah.
Now, of course, Moreno has the option then to game block the Ocelot Pride. There's a question of how many creatures is Shields willing to throw at it. Some of his creatures have some value, right? This Phantom is holding back these Slick Shots, for example.
Absolutely. And if that's that Skyclave were to go away, we'd get a 1/1 illusion for John Moreno. Just going to be the Swift Spear blocking. That cat and the first strike damage is going to finish it off, and Ocelot Pride will stick around to make another cat at end of turn. In fact, have we ascended?
5. It looks like yes. I think
maybe that's just 9. So this will ascend us.
Which does mean it makes another token.
Absolutely, yes.
So this, I think, might be a bit of a misstep for Moreno. I think he needed to double block the Ocelot Pride with both 1/2s.
Interesting.
I think he might have been trying to set up a turn where he plays in Slick Shot, clears the Phantom, and swings for a lot of damage. But the problem is with the Ascension and the Bombardment, that's just never going to work. Shields is always going to be able to remove whichever one's Moreno's creatures he wants, kind of at will.
Yeah. Is Shields out of cards in hand? This Slick Shot show off plus Bolt Wave There's a lot of damage coming down.
I think Shiels is out of cards, but I mean, I'm not sure the attack is that great, right? Because you can block with a 2/2 first strike on one of them, throw the 2/1/1s at the other one. I mean, it's not that much damage.
Of course, of course.
Now, if Moreno's last card is a way to kill the Phantom, then we're off to the races.
Yep.
But if
Also,
it's not, the attack's not that exciting.
Yeah, I assume this DRC is a 3/3.
Yes, I think it's instant sorcery creature land.
Okay.
I believe it's a 3D, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yep. All right, math time. Let's see what our players decide to how our players decide to block and resolve this combat phase.
All right, Phantom goes on one of the slick shots. Very logical.
Yep.
I mean, I imagine it's going to be as simple as Phantom blocks that, the 2 tokens ping the other flyer, and then he takes 3 from the DRC.
Yep. Falling down to 5. Only 1 card in hand, though. Sometimes in burn, you can equate a single card to 3 damage, so that's a little bit of a scary life total. First strike damage, bird down.
So this is interesting. I guess one thing Shiels could do is after first strike damage, kill the DRC. You could say throw the 2 tokens at the DRC and the first striker at it. I don't know if that's really worth it for him because obviously he keeps the 2 first striker. Next turn he can say block the DRC, put your damage on it, then finish it off. But it would deny your opponent some surveils. It's a play that has some merits.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll see him kind of take the level 1 play here of using his 2 cats to finish off that slick shot show off. And he's considering his options and going to take 3 down to 5 here. A precarious life total, but all these little things he's done to keep his life total up are really paying dividends now. These 5 crucial life points have been hard earned from David Shiels.
Yeah, and I think a big question here is, will Dave Shiels find another way to gain life? Because I think if he does, that would put the game completely out of reach.
Absolutely.
If he found Guide of Souls, Phlage, anything like that would be totally game ending.
Skullcrack was the card in hand, going to stop the Ocelot Pride from triggering.
Oh, wow.
Putting, I believe, Dave Shiels down to 2.
I mean, that's huge. And it's huge not just because it means Dave Shiels doesn't gain a single life point. Honestly, because Burn deals damage in multiples of 3, that isn't that important. What's important is it means Dave Shiels is not going to make his 2 cat tokens. Because you can't gain life, you can't trigger Ocelot Pride.
Absolutely.
Those 2 cat tokens were crucial because it would allow him to block the DRC, finish it off by throwing a cat token at it. Now he's going to have to sacrifice a real creature if he wants to stop the DRC beats. And he has no other real blockers for, say, a haste creature.
Yep. All right, big moment here in this game. Does the burn player find one of their many, many burn spells off the top of the library? Live exciting magic here. Let's see the peel. A look of disappointment from John Moreno.
That's not, he doesn't look like he really killed points well. I mean, maybe he did and that's just how he always looks. I don't know, but...
A cool trick here. First strike damage can deal 2 to the DRC, and then we can sacrifice something to finish it off before the Phantom dies if he chooses to sacrifice something else.
Yeah, but he might just sack the Phantom itself just to not give his opponent an illusion token and to preserve his kind of engine in the Ocelot Pride.
Absolutely. All right, we are seeing that play. 2 first strike damage plus 1 is 3. Players are just confirming, and another Dragon Rage Channeler, not the worst find.
Yeah, so
burn player.
That is still a 3/3 blocker, which is pretty annoying here because Shiels would really like to attack the Ocelot Pride. Oh, wow.
A Johnny is huge.
Now, wait a minute here. The question now on everyone's mind is lethal check.
Yeah.
Because now Shiels could, for example, throw the cat token at Moreno's face, trigger the Ajani to flip it, use the Ajani 0 to kill the DRC, go to damage attack with all his creatures, and set the Ocelot Pride will duplicate everything, including the cat token. And then maybe he can throw everything at Moreno's face to finish him off, for example. Again, there's a lot of damage here. I can't quite do the math, but it's very close to lethal.
Let's see. Either way, we're starting off the turn, as you suggested, throwing the cat to flip the Ajani, using the Ajani's 0 ability to make another cat and deal 3 damage to this this Dragon's Raid Channeler.
And you always want to go for the Channeler here because you want your Pride to trigger. The
Yep.
Pride makes 3 fresh tokens from triggering, so it literally does as much damage as the Johnny trigger, just if you sack all those tokens immediately. Much less that you gain some life, you might do something else with them. You know, that makes a lot of sense. But lethal or no lethal here is a big deal. So wait, it's 3 damage. He goes to 7. Is that right?
Yeah, and then plus a cat. This looks like 1 short. It looks like 6 total creatures by my count.
No, I think that's right. I think it's 1 short of lethal.
Or does the Ocelot Pride make 2 Ajani? Yeah, I think it makes.
It does make 2 Ajani.
Okay, it makes, so that's 7 creatures.
Wait, has Moreno's lifespan already updated? Is he at?
No, I think he should be at 7. We're all reading Ocelot Pride here.
It does duplicate the Ajani token. I mean, that is certainly correct.
Yeah.
It duplicates every token that entered this turn, assuming they're still in play.
Well, but it doesn't make 2 more Ajani.
No.
Oh, it does, right? Because there's the Ajani token.
No, it's for each token you control that entered the battlefield this turn.
Okay, yes.
So a token that died to flip the initial Ajani won't be duplicated.
I see.
Because it already left the battlefield by the time the Ocelot Pride trigger resolves.
All right.
But
here it is, live moment. And
it appears to be Searing Blaze.
Yeah. Searing Blaze doesn't do it with Dave Shiels.
I'm not sure he was flipping his top card and it was lethal. I'm not sure.
Oh, interesting. It looks like Mishra's Bauble was the card that was found. And so the Mishra's Bauble could have led to a suspenseful moment of will you draw a lightning bolt to win? But that's not what happened. It looks like our burn players scooped up our cards, and Dave Shiels is going to head to 5-1, moving him into day 2. John Moreno, of course, has another chance to make day 2 in the final round of the tournament, as he's sitting at 4-2. And in a small tournament like this, making day 2 can be huge with a lot of prizes on the line. But